we brought you on because we wanted to talk baseball, and specifically want to talk about the Nats. A lot of questions for this team. They've been successful. Like maybe in the last 5 years, the only team that's won more games than them, I think, is maybe the St. Louis Cardinals, and only by like 3 games or so. They don't have any hardware for it, but they've been a damn good organization. But yet, heading into this season, Brian, there are a lot of questions, and the biggest one is this closer situation. Do you think this is going to be filled internally season long, or do you think they're going to eventually have to get somebody?
I think it depends. I mean, I'd really have to take a closer look at their personnel. I don't think you need a closer per se, but you need a lot of good arms, and they've had good arms there. But it depends on how everybody is functioning, and there's a lot of volatility at the position. I think they might have a closer, but then as you move a guy into that position, then you have to drag everybody else up. Yeah. Right. So it really comes down to like how many arms are you throwing, and are you getting? And basically now, to be an elite team, you really need like 3 guys who are really doing elite work to be effective.
What's the deal with Strasburg? What's his updated health situation? Do you truly believe that Strasburg could go the entire season without landing back on the DL? Because I certainly don't.
Yeah, it's unlikely. Staying healthy is a skill. There are things physically, there are things mentally. There's just mechanical issues. There's all sorts of things, and he is one of the few guys. I mean, I really don't delve into this. I think it's, I know it happens, but I think it's just wildly overblown normally to, question a guy's, ability to toe the line, to get out there. But it's happened enough with him now. Obviously, the biggest part of it in his career, that was not his choice. It was not his fault. But there's just too much history there. And I think right after he signed the extension, I think that was the thought where, okay, this guy's arrived. Now he's there. Now he's going to be great. So all those things, he was a young guy. It happens. Sometimes you are actually injured, and it's the way it goes. And he had the arm surgery. But I think at that point, everybody was ready to see this guy blossom. And when he didn't, it was, okay, it just happened again. And there's some truth to that. It's like, hey, all right, it just happened again when everything was going good. Are we ever going to see this guy, actually be out there for the length of the season? And no, I have very little confidence in that. We did the top 10 pitchers right now. We just did our top 10 series. Yeah. And Strasburg didn't even enter the equation for me. I mean, because reliability is very important, and he just hasn't put in the innings. And I'm not talking about, what kind of type of guy he is. I'm just, how many innings are you pitching? And I don't have confidence in that.
Where did Max end up?
For me, lower than most, and it was no disrespect. It was just I had a different sort of list. I think he was 5 or 6 for me. For most people, he was number 2. We know Kershaw's going number 1. And I think the Shredder and I think John Smoltz had him number 2. I had Kluber 2, and I had Max slightly below that. And maybe I'm wrong. I just see he allows a few more runs. At the end of each season, he's allowing a few more runs than some of the top guys. But his innings, his volume, his strikeouts, you could make a good case for him being right behind Clayton Kershaw.
So when you look at the Nats as a whole, obviously Strasburg's an issue. They just need him. I mean, they desperately need him. Things that could have been different last year if they had him healthy. The closer is certainly an issue. Is there anything else there that stands out for you? They got a different catcher this year. Well, they'll certainly use a different catcher this year at times, Derek Norris. Trey Turner's going to be playing short, not center field. Jason Worth's a year older. They did go out and get Adam Eaton. You're a metrics guy. What's Eaton bring to the table? So as a whole, where do you see the Nats in the landscape of the National League?
Yeah, I think it will be interesting to see just how it works in a baseball sense. Moving Turner to shortstop, which I know is his natural position, but I don't know how he fields there. And I've heard certain things that, maybe it's just utter nonsense. You hear a lot of things that are nonsense. But like his arm is not the strongest. And again, that might be nonsense. He might be an excellent shortstop. But you bring him there where he was doing just fine in center field, and now you also bring Adam Eaton into center, where last year he had outrageous defensive metrics in right field. So are you kind of losing 2 spots there? Mike Petriello of MLB.com was on one of the top 10 shows, and he had mentioned that, and he said it's kind of it's a double-edged thing where, hey, we had a great right fielder and a pretty good center fielder defensively. You know, I'm not talking about anything offense. Offensively, they're both pretty good, and Turner might be great. But, you know, those are big spots. You know, defense at shortstop, defense in center field. Again, I say it's like kind of a real baseball-y thing. When you're watching it, you'll see it. You'll know it. It's not just nerdy defensive metrics. Oh, you know, keep your metrics, you know, in your pocket protector. It's like, no, this is like, are you getting to the ball? Is your shortstop making plays or is he not making plays? Yeah, this is going to be obvious stuff, and it's going to be significant. Now everything might be fine. If Eaton is just a little above league average, you're fine. If Turner is just league average as a shortstop, you're fine. But are you missing a lot? Could you have, you know, excellent defensive performance if you didn't make that move?